Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, the Brooke Ashley, and today we are here to discuss The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Season 2, Episode 20. And before we begin, let me just say that I am at a loss for words. I had to watch this episode 3 times because I was in shock at what I heard and what I was seeing. I want somebody to let me know down in those comments, why is everybody focused on Meredith and Mary and not Jen Shah? If I were Meredith, I would have torn everybody in this house up, especially Whitney. I can't stand Whitney. I can't stand Heather. I can't stand Lisa. And you guys know how I feel about Jennie. Jen Shah, she's working my nerves this season as well, but she's been a little less insufferable. I am so thankful that the next episode is going to be the finale episode.
Thank you, God. Thank you. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus.
Because when I tell you that this season was way too long in the first place, we did not need 21 episodes of nothing. Salt Lake City, y'all need to come up with something else because half these ladies do not have storylines and they're reaching. They're not going to be able to carry a franchise if it's going to be, let's keep talking about the same old stuff over and over again. Whitney trying to be the bone collector and the way she keeps prodding at Meredith about the same old stuff is pathetic. Season 3, I really hope that you have the same energy when everybody turns on you, Miss Whitney Rose, about your husband and the charges that he's facing regarding this alleged multi-level marketing scheme. I really hope that you have a big old smile on your face when they start asking you questions. But y'all, let me not jump ahead. Let's just get right on into this video because we don't have a minute to spare. We start off this episode and it is pure chaos. Lisa is still in the bathroom going off about Meredith with the hot mic. And again, if I were Meredith, Lisa Barlow could never and would never speak to me again. So now Mary goes upstairs to check on Meredith, and Meredith does not want to open the door. She's just pissed. So Mary's like, girl, let me in this room, please. Like, I want to make sure that you're okay. And then Meredith finally acquiesces and opens up the door. And then she starts telling Mary that she can't believe Whitney. She goes on to say that if anybody should have questions, it should be Jen Shah because of the allegations about her calling the FBI on her. So now Meredith says in her confessional that, do you really think that she would call the cops on Jen? Because if she did, she would not have missed that arrest for anything. I was screaming because you could tell that Meredith definitely would have had her popcorn out had she witnessed Jen Shah getting arrested like the rest of the other ladies. Now, for the last time, I want to make it very clear that if the FBI or Homeland Security needs any one of us to help them, then we are in some pretty rough shape. Jen got caught up because of her alleged poor choices. We now see Jennie going in Lisa's room to see how Lisa's doing. So Lisa is so livid, she's screaming at Jennie and saying how Jennie didn't have her back at the table. Jennie, you did not have my back. I really can't believe you. I was sitting at that table and you sat there doing nothing. So Jennie's trying to calm her down. She's like, Lisa, I have your back. I'm your friend. Like, I was speaking up for you. You just didn't hear me. So now Lisa's still screaming. And then she goes on to say, this is absolute BS. I can't believe Meredith. And on top of that, I almost got my ass kicked by Jen because of her. So let's back this up for a minute. You're more mad at Meredith for not defending you, but you don't have smoke for Jen Shah, who literally tried to put her hands and feet on you. Jen was trying to physically harm you, but that's okay. And also, Lisa, you're not a little child. You don't need everybody to come to your defense. And again, did you have Meredith's back when Jen Shah was saying all that nasty stuff about Meredith's son, Brooks? You did not. You were sitting there trying to be Jen's new best friend, pretending that you had no idea what was going on and trying to play neutral. So please miss me with all this anger about Meredith not having your back. You know who Lisa reminds me of? The mean girl in school who always had a clique behind her to back her up. And now when she has to stand on her own 2 feet and handle her arguments on her own, she can't do it. She always needs backup because everything out of Lisa's mouth is, have my back, stick up for me, why didn't you have my back? It's always that. So child, Lisa is still going on, and I mean she is screaming at the top of her lungs. She's like, I really can't believe you right now. Like, you didn't say a damn word. Are you all that effing stupid? So Jennie's still trying to calm her down. She's like, Lisa, again, I love you. You're my friend. I will always have your back. And Lisa keeps dismissing her like, no, you don't. I had to fight all by myself. So while Lisa is having a meltdown, Jen, Heather, and Whitney go into Lisa's room. So Lisa starts screaming at them about how they didn't defend her, and Heather's trying to console her. She's like, Lisa, please, I was defending you at that table, and we all know how Heather is because God forbid somebody's angry at her. So Lisa goes into the bathroom. She's screaming and crying. She's yelling out obscenities, talking about F Meredith. So now Lisa screams out of nowhere, I'm richer than all of y'all, and I don't need to be in this group. So everybody's like, girl, what? So let's just break that statement down. What does money or you being the richest person in this friend group have to do with anything? What does that have to do with the price of tea in China? Lisa saying that also reveals how she feels about herself in relation to other people in this group. Anybody who has to feel good because they have more than somebody else, that's a self-esteem issue. Because what if a new person in the group comes in and they have more money than you? Are you going to feel bad about yourself now? Also, how do you know who has what in this group? If I had to make a guess, I would say that Meredith has the most money in this group, and then Heather. Meredith has a successful jewelry line. Her husband's doing very well. If I had to guess, Meredith seems like she comes from a little something herself. So how do you know that you're the richest one in the group? Girl, we've seen the insides of your home. It's giving very much bare. So I don't know about you being the richest. I have always said that I found Lisa to be very self-centered, self-absorbed, and also very vapid. And that statement showed all the above. And also, just because you're the richest one in the group today doesn't mean it's always going to be that way. Fortunes always change, okay? Let that be a word for everybody. We saw on the earlier seasons of Atlanta where Nene was at the bottom financially and Kim and Sheree were up here, and it quickly changed. And that was the real reason why there was so much tension, because they were always used to looking at her as bottom of the barrel. Oh, she's a girl who doesn't have it. We have the most. And when the tables turned, they really turned. But let me not get off on a tangent, because I could just stay on that topic for hours on end. Then Lisa brings up Mary, and she's going on about how she's authentic and has real things. And I was like, girl, what are you trying to say? Let me just stop you right now. If you're trying to throw some shade or start some rumors that Mary has fake things, girl, stop. We're not about to do that. Mary might be a lot of things, including tacky, but I can assure you that all of her Chanel, all of her Gucci, Prada, Dolce & Gabbana, Valentino, it's all real. So let's not try to put that out there that you buy real and she buys fake. So while Lisa, Heather, Whitney, Jen, Shah, and Jennie are in Lisa's room, we now see a short scene with Mary looking out the window. You guys don't understand. I had to watch this scene back about a good 10 times. I was in tears, like I was on the floor. Mary doesn't know that the cameras are on her, we hear her talking about Heather. And she says, look at Heather, her little judgmental self, and she has the snobbiness of a true Mormon. And she doesn't even know that she looks inbred.
You know what? It's too much.
I was speechless. I said, Mary is something else. And before anybody gets upset about Mary for saying that, don't lie to me, because I know that you laughed too. Because you were probably in shock that she said it. A quick side note, there are now some rumors that Mary is going to be back for season 3, and she's going to be a friend of the show now. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think that Mary might fit better as a friend of the show as opposed to a full-time castmate? How do you feel? So now we unfortunately flip back to Lisa, and she's in the room, fake crying. I have never seen somebody cry so much and not a tear comes out. She's going on and on still about nobody having her back and how it would have been nice to have somebody defend her and how she's upset because she's been putting up with this for 2 years now. I said, girl, what have you been putting up with for 2 years? It's really scary how Lisa can lie with a straight face. So here's where I got really annoyed. Now Shah interjects and she's trying to comfort Lisa. And she says, you know what, Lisa? I'd be really upset too if my best friend of 10 years didn't defend me or have my back. I said, girl, shut up. You don't even know how to be a friend to anybody. Now Jen brings up Mary and Meredith's friendship and she calls their friendship BS. She goes on to say how Mary's been nasty to everybody except for Meredith and she's tired of it and somebody needs to call them out. So now Jen has the audacity to say that she too could crucify people, but she chooses not to. I said, Jen, what the F are you talking about? You're facing multiple charges for allegedly scamming the elderly with a telemarketing scheme. You were out here with borrowed furs, borrowed Porsches, borrowed jewelry, but you want to talk about you could crucify people. With what, sis? You have much bigger fish to fry, like staying out of jail. So now here comes Heather's goofy ass talking about, yeah, I mean, you know, Lisa, your friendship with Jen actually protected Meredith because Jen has a lot of tea that she could spill about Meredith. I said, Heather, please shut up. And it's all stale tea. And it's giving me some low-key, I don't know, I don't really want to say it, but let me just say it anyway. I'm getting kind of racism vibes because why are y'all so pressed and bothered about Meredith being friends with Mary? Do you have an issue with the fact that she's friends with a black woman? Because this shouldn't be causing so much strife and so much contention about her friendship with Mary. And I'm not saying that Mary's a saint or innocent, but in this group of women, especially with Jennie being there, we're not going to sit up here and act like Mary is just the absolute worst person in the world. We're not going to do that. Now Whitney leaves Lisa's room and she's now downstairs talking to Meredith and Mary. Off rip, Mary is annoyed. She's like, Whitney, I'm not doing this with you tonight. I'm not doing this with you tonight. Like, I'm not here for what you have to say. So now it's just Meredith and Whitney face to face. Now, mind you, Mary still is in the kitchen, but she's just standing over to the side. So now Meredith starts it off and she says, Whitney, you were beyond disrespectful at that table, asking about my father's memorial service and if I faked the whole thing or not. So of course Whitney's trying to play dumb, talking in that stupid baby voice like she always does, and she's still trying to say that she was just trying to ask a question to get to the bottom of everything. So Meredith is getting really pissed off and she's like, Whitney, I'm not going to say this again. Stop asking me about my father's memorial service. Like, stop. Then Meredith says, now what if I asked you about your dad, and what if I told you to your face that I don't believe that you and your dad aren't speaking? How would you like that? Now, if you've been watching SLC since the beginning, then you know that Whitney's father has an addiction and he stopped talking to her after last season wrapped. So Whitney has the gall to say that that's really low of Meredith to say, because at least Meredith knows where her father is and he's resting peacefully. Now, I don't know if that was some slick shade that she was trying to throw, but I said, Whitney, I would have thrown that red wine right in your face. How dare you? I'm going to keep saying this. Whitney is an idiot who has no storyline and is very desperate for these Bravo checks, since she and Justin are damn near penniless since she was emptying out their account for that stupid business of hers. So Meredith keeps saying, Whitney, I don't know how much more I can keep saying this, but my father is dead, okay? And I don't owe you guys an explanation about anything, and it's none of your business. And she is absolutely correct. And I don't understand why these grown-ass women are so pressed about Meredith not riding the bus with them. Whitney and Heather need to grow up and really get some self-esteem immediately, because this can't go on. Heather's damn near 50 years old, still worrying and crying about somebody not liking her. Then you have Whitney, just like her, just a little bit younger. It's giving very much pathetic. Grow up. So Meredith says, if you're my friend, then you would believe what I have to say instead of questioning me like I'm lying. Then she continues by saying that it's absolutely disgusting, the fact that they're discussing her father's death like this. So now Whitney wants to get smart, and she says, should I call a PI for this? And Meredith loses it. I think that Whitney is very sick and twisted to try to make this a storyline. This woman's father has just passed away, and you're trying to accuse her of lying about attending his memorial service. You have lost your damn mind. Too many desperate women are getting on these Housewives franchises, and I'm tired. Because we're not getting the cream of the crop, we're getting penniless losers who will do anything to keep a check. So now Meredith turns her back on Whitney. She is just pissed. Whitney goes back upstairs, and now Whitney starts lying through her teeth about her interaction with Meredith. She has the nerve to say that she went downstairs to apologize to Meredith, and Meredith hit her with a low blow. I said, you're a bold-faced liar, because you had no intentions of apologizing to Meredith, and the words, I'm sorry, never came out of your mouth. So now Meredith goes upstairs to Whitney's room, and baby, she's like, you know what? I'm about to set this whole thing off. Whitney, tell me right now, who in this group is speculating about my father's death? So of course everybody's quiet, and Whitney says everybody. So Meredith says, nope, like that's not gonna cut it. Who's everybody? I need names immediately. So now Jennie chimes in and says, well, everybody was talking about it on the bus. So now Shah interjects and throws Jennie under the bus, and she says, well, Jennie was talking about how you hired the PI and how you called the FBI. So now Jennie turns to Shah, and she's like, excuse me, no I didn't. All I said was the private investigator. I didn't say anything about the FBI being called by Meredith. So now Lisa Barlow walks into the room, and she's screaming off rip. She's like, I did not lie. I did not lie. It was a minute conversation, and that was it. Nobody was speculating about your father's death, Meredith. So now Meredith says, girl, don't lie and stop all that screaming. So now Lisa starts screaming at Meredith even more, and then she calls Meredith an effing liar. And the minute that Lisa would have opened her mouth to call me an effing liar, again, everybody in that house would have been torn up. Some ambulances would have been called. Some paramedics would have been called for some of these ladies. Folks would have been laid out. And I would have done it with a smile on my face too, honey, like. So Meredith turns to Whitney and she says, look, Whitney, you still haven't answered my question. Was Lisa speculating about my father's death, yes or no? So now Whitney is sitting up there quiet. Now she has nothing to say because, God forbid, you put her on the spot to tell the truth. She seems to crumble under pressure. She goes on to ask Meredith, well, why can't you just answer our question and give us a date of when your father's memorial service was? So Meredith says, I don't have to. And again, Meredith does have the right to not answer them about when her father's memorial service was. They should believe her as her friend. Period, point blank. She is not obligated to answer a personal question if she does not want to answer it. Meredith is so angry, she leaves the room, and now Whitney starts chasing behind her, asking where is Mary to defend her. So now Whitney runs back down to the kitchen, and she's all in Mary's face, asking why Mary won't defend Meredith. So now Whitney keeps asking, do you know where your friend Meredith is right now? And Mary's like, girl, she's in the bathroom. Like, I'll obviously comfort her when she gets out, but you get out of my face, like, bye. Then Mary says, I'm just over you and your cousin Heather. Like, y'all both are getting on my nerves. Like, please leave me alone. So now Whitney keeps questioning Mary about why she's not in the room with them and why she's by herself in the kitchen. Mary says, because I don't want to be around y'all. Like, that's why. So now Lisa comes downstairs and she jumps in the conversation and she's like, Mary, why are you around us then if you don't like us? And Mary's like, girl, just shut up. Like, leave me alone. And I said, Lisa, please don't do this because you don't like Mary either. You're always talking about how strange she is. You're trying to expose her with her church, you and Whitney. So please miss me with all this. Why don't you like us? You know, why are you around us then if you don't like us? Like, girl, shut up. So now we move on to the next scene, and it's the next day, their last day in Zion, and we see all the ladies packing up and getting ready to go back home. So we now see Jen and Whitney talking. Whitney saying that she's super hungover and she's also really emotional from last night. So now Jen's telling her how Whitney was on fire last night and how she was just trying to put the pieces together. Then Jen has the nerve to say that Meredith isn't being honest and has a hard time telling the truth. I said, girl, that's real rich coming from you. I said, not the woman who was sitting up there lying, saying that she owned 5 homes and a penthouse in NYC. I said, girl, I mean, you just told all types of lies when you came on this show. You had the nerve to act like that chalet was yours when that was indeed a rental. You're the one who has a very strange relationship with the truth. But I digress. Now we see Lisa and Heather talking, and Lisa says that she's devastated because she loves Meredith's family. I said, girl, no you don't, because that outburst that you had behind closed doors, your true feelings came out. Then here comes Heather with her stupid self talking about how Meredith didn't admit anything and that Mary has been aggressively cruel. I said, not too much, sis. Not too much. How dare you say that Mary's been aggressively cruel when Jen has been the one trying to put hands and feet on y'all and Mary has done no such thing. Now again, Mary is no saint, but what y'all won't do is act like she's some aggressor. That is the biggest pet peeve of mine when white women use that aggressive word to describe a black woman. You'll have women of other races carrying on, wanting to fight people like we see with Jen. But when a black woman calmly gets y'all together, now you want to say it's aggressive. And don't forget, Heather, Jen was screaming in your face, cursing at you, calling you everything but a child of God all last season. That's aggressive behavior. And this conversation between Lisa and Heather was so pathetic because Heather was foaming at the mouth because that's how happy she is to be in Lisa's good graces. Pathetic. So now it's time for all the ladies to head on back to SLC, and everybody gets on the Sprinter except for Mary. Mary says that she's taking an SUV home by herself because she is not trying to be on that Sprinter with all those ladies. And I said, I know that's right.
Oh! Shout out to everybody. I had fun.
I gotta be good.
And Meredith should have gotten in that SUV with Mary too. I was shocked that Meredith wanted to be on that Sprinter with all of them. So now we see it's 3 days later. We see some short scenes with Meredith at home. She's talking to her husband, Seth, and he's telling her that she needs to get some Reiki sessions to, cleanse out her energy since she had such a horrible time on this girls' trip. Then we see another short scene with Heather and her daughter, Ashley, and they have some friends and family over at the park. and she's announcing the good news that she's going to be attending UC Santa Barbara, and they're super excited. And then we see Jen Shah at home with her attorney, and her attorney is telling her that her former assistant, Stewart, might take a deal and testify against her. And then Jen says, oh, so that means that we're going to have to go to trial then. And he says yes. And I'll bet you guys money that Stewart is about to sing like a canary and throw his former boss under the jail. Now, this next scene had me screaming. I said, the power of Mary Cosby. Baby, we see Lisa at home with her family, and they're actually cooking dinner instead of ordering fast food. Child, Lisa ran out and bought a new grill, and she's making asparagus wrapped in prosciutto. She has some cheese, she has some shrimp, she has everything. And she's joking around about how she could be a celebrity chef. And then she goes on to say, and who is Mary Cosby to tell me that my diet is bad? Well, sis, bragging about how you eat Taco Bell for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I wouldn't say that you have the best diet. I'm glad Mary read you for filth like that, because your diet is horrible, and hopefully you do start incorporating some nutrients into your system, and some water, instead of those 7-Eleven big gulps at your big age. So they finish eating their dinner off of their new grill, and so her boys go upstairs. So now John just goes on to ask Lisa flat out, honey, how was the trip? Because you haven't said much about it. Because he already has a feeling that Lisa didn't have a good time. So here goes Lisa opening up her mouth to lie. You know, babe, I'm just so happy to be home. But I will say that there was a lot of tension with me and Meredith, and it's been building for quite some time now. But you know what, babe? I'm just tired, and I will never be a punching bag for any of them. It's really about the fact that Jen and Meredith have issues with each other, and they've been trying to put me in the middle of things, but I'm not in the middle, I'm both of their friends, you know what I'm saying, John? Like, it's really not my problem. I said, Lisa, please shut up. You're always the first one hollering about somebody having your back, but you never want to have anybody else's back. So again, please, just shut the entire hell up. I am so sick of Lisa, and I hope that Meredith tears you up at this reunion. And again, I'm really upset that Mary skipped out, because I know that Mary would have torn everybody up at this reunion. So now we get to the next scene, and we are at church with Mary Martha Cosby. And honey, she is letting us know that it feels so good to be back in the house of the Lord. Because with COVID, they could not meet up. But honey, the church doors are now open, and won't he do it? So everybody is praising and worshiping in the church house, and Miss Jen Shah comes through. Jen says that Mary texted her directly and invited her to her church. So Jen accepted the invitation, and she says that she wants to see Mary's church for herself, and she wants to know if she's going to catch the Holy Spirit herself. I said, child, you need every piece of prayer to help you through this case. Now, I don't know if this was Pastor Appreciation Day, but everybody in the congregation was up at that pulpit reading sweet words about Mary. So we see one church member saying that Mary is a perfect friend, a perfect dresser, a perfect everything, and Mary's just sitting up there touched by the sweet words. So Jen is watching all this unfold, and she looks rather puzzled. Then we see another church member screaming at the top of her lungs, saying that Mary is the best friend that she's ever had. And I said, you could tell that Mary's son did not want to be there. He was looking like, okay, when is service over? Because, I got some stuff to do. And then the scene ends with Mary hugging a little girl who says that she'll never leave her. And I was like, all right now, I felt like Bravo was probably being shady with all that editing, and they wanted to chop and screw it to look like Mary was some big old cult leader, and all they do is just fawn over her all day. But, it looked like it was a very lively service. I will say that. So now we get to the final scene of the episode, and we see Meredith at home, and we find out that she has invited Heather and Whitney over. She says that she thinks that she's owed a few apologies regarding how they treated her about her father's death. And I said, girl, that's an understatement. They owe you some apologies. They owe you some gifts. They owe you a few bottles of champagne. Like, they owe you a lot. Because for anybody to be so callous and to be so cruel to mention your father's death like that, absolutely disgusting. Now, mind you, Meredith has her trainer over as well, and she has some people coming over with those machines that you hook yourself up to, and it sort of simulates a real workout and you burn some calories. I don't know what it's called. I know that a few of the ladies on other franchises have done it too, instead of just working out. I guess it's called a workout simulator. If you know the name of what they were doing, let me know down in the comments. But yeah, that's the activity that her, Whitney, and Heather are going to be doing. So we see Heather and Whitney on their way to Meredith's house. So of course, they're discussing Meredith. And here goes Whitney telling an outright lie. She says, Meredith really low-blowed me because she asked me, is your father really an addict? So Heather's like, wow, that really was a low blow. I said, Whitney, you know good and well that you're lying. Meredith did not say that. Like, why are you sitting up here trying to twist what she said? All Meredith asked you was, how would you feel if I brought up your father? What if I told you that I don't believe that you two aren't speaking? That's what she said. Then Whitney has the nerve to say that Meredith is inviting them over because she wants to kiss their asses. I said, girl, in your dreams. I just really can't stand Whitney. Oh my gosh, I really wish that I were hosting this reunion because so many of my questions would be just reading the hell out of her. That girl is a liar, and she is very desperate to be on this show by any means. Heather and Whitney finally arrive to Meredith's house, and now they both get on the machines, and they have like all the electrodes, I guess like zapping them in the stomach. So I guess it's supposed to like tone you and like give you some abs or something. I don't know how it works. But anyhow, Meredith is just making small talk, and then she brings up the trip. Now, Meredith, you know that you're my favorite, you're my girl, but I was so upset when you apologized to Whitney. I would not have apologized for anything. You did nothing wrong. She's the one who owes you an apology. She was out of order for what she was saying. So now Whitney's trying to act all sweet, and she says, Meredith, all I wanted was a yes or no answer. That's it. So now Meredith finally gives these two idiots what they want, and she tells them the exact date of her father's memorial. So she says his memorial was on the 29th. So Whitney and Heather are both surprised, and they're like, oh, the 29th was a Monday. So Whitney says, well, Lisa told us that she called you and she spoke to you. And then Heather interjects and says, yeah, Lisa told us that she had called you in the middle of your dad's memorial on Tuesday. So Meredith says, look, I left Aspen on Monday night to head to Vail. Again, the memorial was on Monday, not Tuesday. So Whitney and Heather are confused, and they're both like, so why would Lisa say that then? I said, here they go flip-flopping. Y'all were just on Lisa's side calling Meredith a liar, and now when Meredith confirms that she was telling the truth all along, now y'all have egg on your face looking stupid, and now you want to turn this all on Lisa and how it's her fault. Meredith says that Lisa's trying to add fuel to the fire between her and Jen. I said, Meredith, you're also forgetting Heather and Whitney too. Heather and Whitney have been salivating and chomping at the bit to destroy your friendship with Lisa because they have always wanted to be in close with her since they think that Lisa is the cool girl. So they are more than happy to also break y'all up as well. Now Meredith says, if everything that you guys are telling me is the truth, then I'm done. And that's where the episode ends. Guys, this was an explosive episode. I was pissed from beginning to end. I am so thankful that the next episode is the finale, because I can't take any more. Again, my heart is really hurting for the fact that we will not be seeing Mary Cosby clear everybody at this reunion. I'm also really annoyed that we're not going to see Jennie being confronted about her racism and her evilness at this reunion too, because all that mess was found out after they had finished filming the reunion. But with all that being said, I hope you all enjoyed my recap. Thank you for watching, and as always, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all later. Bye.